Are you going to top that, Mayor Palmieri? Good morning. City of Utica Mayor Rob Palmieri.
I know I'm having some Cheetos right now.
Okay, all right. Well, good for you. All right, so let's talk about this tax increase.
Let's talk about the budget. And
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the drivers of why there is a tax increase, which I think if you saw the breakdown, that 90% of the budget is contractual. And the four components really it has nothing that we could do. The retirement and pension is a number that we get from the state controller's office. The salaries are, again, 90% is contractual. That goes into that. And a huge driver, and it's not just with the city, but whomever, is going to be your health care. And so it's an unfortunate thing last year, but we had some more usage than we normally have, and the long-term debt. So if you put those four components, it was roughly $3.3 million tax increase differently within the budget, which would have equated to 11.2 tax increase. And what we try to do is obviously we became, you got the pencils out. I'm actually tired of saying we get the pencils out. We're very lean. There's not much into that budget that could be cut any longer.
So you think it's inevitable there's going to be a tax increase?
You know what? The only way that they could avoid a tax is to lay off people. And in my budget, there is no layoffs whatsoever. We did that in 2012. We reduced our table of organization by roughly 20%. We're very lean. I think a prime example is if you look at DPW, they were 79 in 2012, and they're at 47 at this point. And, just kudos to them. Dave Short, Fred Sperry, and DPW and Parks did absolutely a great job again with 212 miles of roads out in the city. The police department was cut. The fire department is cut. Everyone has been cut in City Hall.
Yeah, Mayor, does this budget include the new paving thing that passed, where roads begin being paved?
Right. It's all part of the long-term debt that's in there, and that went up, Bill, which I failed to give you a number on that, close to $1.1 million.
Okay.
So yeah, that was for our pools, our parking. That's for the paving also. That's in there. That was again. A referendum voted on for the people, but that's something that, as you look at debt service, there are some things that we have to go out and bond for, and where our debt services, that's what we're looking at this point. At one point, the interest rates were low. They're starting to rise at this point. Petroleum is starting to go up a little bit. So there's a lot of variables that go into that. And if we look back over the last 3 years. We had a tax decrease, stayed under the 2%, and then last year we had another tax decrease.
Yeah.
So in those 3 years, taxes only went up under roughly 0.52% in 3 years. So the problem is not our expenditures. We're not spending a lot. We're spending as lean as we can. It's the revenue. And our revenue, thank God, has been up, but not enough to offset our expenditures that continually, are going up. And you're seeing that throughout wherever it is. Yeah. The medical, I'm going to tell you, is the driver. It is really the driver. It really...
talking about Medicare? Medicaid?
Insurance?
Oh, no, just insurance. It's
medical insurance.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And our utilization, we had some catastrophic events last year, which really impacted our premiums this year.
Okay. Minaski.
Just to follow up on that last point, I do have another question. Are you saying like when a city employee passes? Well, when you say catastrophic events.
Well, what I'm saying is we can't control when someone becomes ill.
Okay.
And
enough said.
So that's driven up the cost of health insurance. Okay, your next question.
Mayor, I want to ask about when you talk about debt. I was under the impression we had this conversation. We were talking about the hospital that there was debt coming off the books for the city, and then obviously in the future that debt service would be replaced by the city's portion of the downtown hospital garage. Can you talk about you mentioned debt being part of the reason why, but again, I was under the impression a bunch of debt came off the city books. Can you?
The debt will be coming off, I believe, in 2021.
Okay.
When there will be a big chunk coming out. That's when that will be coming off.
I want to ask about just get into the parking garage just a little bit, because I'm hearing there is a movement that the Common Council. I talked to one member this week that said that if the vote were to come down to the Common Council right now on the parking garage, that it would not pass. Now, there's an MOU, MOA, I forget exactly which one you signed. MOA. So you signed an MOA.
Right.
Does that have to now go to the council for approval?
Yes. Eventually, once we know what everything is finalized, that will go in front of the, because it'll be an intermunicipal agreement with the county.
Right.
We as we know, we are not going out bonding. That will be the county, and then a portion of that, the 40%, whatever that number will be part of the MOA.
Well, I appreciate you finally clearing this up, because up to this point, everybody has been telling us, and even just the other day, Councilman Marino saying, nope, the mayor signed it, it's a done deal. But if I'm correct, there's a certain number that you can sign, but there's a limit to what you can commit to the city to spending. Is that correct? Like $15,000 or something?
Well, again, we're talking about an MOA, which, again, this is all in the works at this point, but once everything is finalized, and that's one of the things, nothing is finalized at this point. We don't know exactly what the cost is going to be. We don't know the variables that will happen from now until the next, 2 or 3 years when they actually put the shovels in the ground.
Okay.
So once that's finalized, it will be, it will go in front of the Common Council.
So you don't know what the council is going to look like when that vote comes up, really.
Well, you don't know, Bill, and I guess that's why all the due diligence is being done as we talked. And it's a little bit refreshing. More and more information is starting to come out.
It is.
I think the MVHS, along with the Page Group, is doing a much better job.
How about, Mayor, how about the announcement the other day, taking care of the remediation for the property owners there? That's enormous.
That was, and Bill, and that's one of the things that we talked about. I think that should have been really prior to this. It was a little bit misleading in reference to the remediation. But the positive thing at this point is the fact that, now there's going to be relocation money available plus remediation. So I think as we're moving forward, a lot of the questions that have been out there are being addressed, and hopefully we continue on this path, and we'll have a state-of-the-art medical facility in here in my lifetime.
I want to ask you a couple of political questions. First of all, Councilman Marino on the air the other day said that he felt that you should have seen this coming, and that you're really passing the buck off to make the council do the dirty work that you didn't want to do. How do you respond to that?
The simple response, Bill, look at the track record from this administration to where we are at this point. All three of the rating agencies have recognized the work that we're doing, the cooperation that we have with the first floor Bill Moore House, the fact that economic development is very robust, the fact that we continue to have surpluses, and so we define the surpluses. We put the budget together, and when I say it's lean, and then from that point on, we're working each and every week to monitor and dashboard the budget. And there are times that, they may need something or want something that we may debate and say, you know what, you have to hold off. That's where the surpluses are coming from. We're very conservative.
Right.
And if anybody knew, and quite frankly, Councilman Marino is supposed to be a bookkeeper. If I would have thought that he would have been able to understand, salaries or health care or even pensions. We have no control over this.
Okay.
And I wish we did. But if you look at the last 6 years, I think we've done a great job. So, I don't want to get into the politics of it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things when I became a mayor and when I was a council person, that's not what the people want to see.
Okay.
You know what? Let the facts speak for themselves. They could ask the questions to our budget team. We're open and receptive to, giving whatever facts we can out there. And if they see something differently, we're open to it.
All right, we have two questions left. Manaski has one.
I am wondering your thought process, what you expect. I know you don't know what's going to happen. Do you expect they'll bring this below 2%, or do you think taxpayers are going to pay 5, 6, 7% increase next year?
Jeff, let me be as honest as I can. I don't see anything in there to cut to get to that level. I think it would impact the services that we deliver. So I would hope I'll have that conversation. One thing about the Common Council, they'll sit with department heads, and they'll ask the questions. And the department heads are going to give them the frank answer. So, if there's any further cuts, it may jeopardize, the services that we provide. As I said, we went from 78 to 47 in reference to DPW. I don't know where else you could cut. Police and fire do an outstanding job. And economic development is only as good as the public safety that you provide. If people don't feel safe, if it is not clean, they're not going to invest in the city. And one thing we could say, that we've had a robust development within this city, not only in Utica, but throughout. We've got some businesses that were never in the footprint of the city of Utica, whether it be the Stewarts, whether it be Aldi's, whether it be Price Right, the fact that we have on the two, well, you got one right here, the HSBC building, which was local people. We've had 11 city-owned properties, commercial buildings that now are infused with millions of dollars into them. I mean, I think the people understand it, and I can understand the people, where this comes from. But that's when we take it. We'll talk to the people. We have no control. There is no way to see this coming, because if we did, we would have done something. And last year, Bill, we had a kind of a windfall because of Hotel Utica.
Right.
We shared that with the people. That's why we did not have a tax increase.
Okay. I want to ask one final question,
Surely.
Which is based a little more on political rumor than anything else, but, I at least have to ask you. It seems that you are, according to the charter at this point, able to run for re-election, not this year, but the following year. But let's not talk about that. There have been some things tossed around that say Mayor Rob Palmieri might actually be interested in the seat currently held by Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi. Any truth to that? And have you even considered it?
Well, let me be really frank with you. It's been the last several months. It's been really diving into this budget. We brought on a new budget director, and we have our deputy. So all my energy at this point has been working with Mike Seminaro, Diana Corey, Bill Morehouse, and our staff to kind of work together, which is something that remarkably hasn't done in the past. So we've done it. I really, it's out there. A number of people have asked me about the assembly race. I think within the next month and a half to 2 months, I will seriously consider that. I love the city, and I like where the city is going. So there's a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, I'll bring my family into it. I'll bring my staff, because that's the other part of my family that I fell in love with. I think we've moved the city. We've moved the needle. And we'll kind of sit down and talk about it and see what's going to happen.
So it would be fair to say that you are considering, at this point, no decision made, but you're considering, and we'll know in the next couple of months.
That is true.
All right, Mayor, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, have a wonderful day.